Last week, I caught myself feeling guilty for not having an opinion about the latest Twitter controversy. Someone said something, someone else responded, and I felt a deep sense of shame over not caring deeply about which side was correct. The controversy lasted maybe 36 hours before being replaced by a new one, whereupon I found myself experiencing something like relief that I could forget about the previous thing, followed immediately by anxiety about needing to catch up on the new thing. This is, frankly, insane. At some point in the last decade, we collectively accepted that having informed opinions about every trending topic was now a civic duty, or at least a social expectation. Miss the discourse about the latest problematic nonsense, and the social penalty for ignorance starts to feel higher than the cognitive cost of constant vigilance. But the math doesn't work. If a new controversy emerges every few days, and each one takes several hours to understand properly, read the original context, understand the counter-arguments, pass the meta-arguments about why this is or isn't important, you end up spending a substantial portion of your waking life just maintaining trending topic literacy. And for what? So you can have a take that approximately 47% of people will think is correct, and 47% of people will think makes you a bad person, with the remaining 6% thinking the whole thing is stupid. I'm calling it. I'm declaring discourse bankruptcy. The creditors can come collect if they want, but they'll find the coffers empty. I no longer have the cognitive resources to track which celebrity said what, or why everyone is upset about an Apple design change that will be forgotten by the next year. The account is overdrawn and the debt is too high. I have recognized that I will never catch up, never be fully informed, never have the complete context that will let me hold perfectly justified opinions about everything people expect me to have opinions about. What prompted this? Partly exhaustion. The treadmill keeps speeding up. What used to be weekly news cycles became daily and then hourly, and now we have multiple discourse tracks running simultaneously. You can be behind on the political discourse, the cultural discourse, the tech discourse, and the academic discourse all at once, each with its own set of mandatory takes and purity tests. The obligation to have opinions about everything has started to feel like emotional strip mining. Each controversy demands soul-sucking attention, moral clarity, righteous anger, and public commitment. You're supposed to care intensely about dozens of issues simultaneously, maintaining a state of perpetual ethical arousal. The human nervous system wasn't built for this. We evolved to handle maybe a dozen serious concerns within our immediate tribe, not to maintain passionate convictions about hundreds of distant arguments that have no impact on our daily lives. So much of this feels mandatory, but it turns out to be optional. You can simply not have an opinion about most things. When someone brings up the latest main character, you can say, I haven't been following that. And most of the time, nothing bad happens. The conversation moves on, the friendship survives. You don't get kicked out of polite society. Some folks will find this stance either frustrating or offensive. There's a particular type of extremely online person who treats discourse literacy as a moral obligation, where not having opinions about current controversies signals either privilege or indifference to suffering. But that's neither here nor there. The fact is, I'm not actually capable of meaningfully engaging with every legitimate issue that crosses my social media feed. Neither are you. Nobody is. The sheer volume of genuinely important problems in the world exceeds any individual's capacity for effective concern. Pretending otherwise produces a performed caring that's more about social signaling than actual impact. If I have to choose between deeply engaging with 3 issues where I might actually make a difference, and superficially engaging with 30 issues where my contribution is limited to writing a tweet, I know where I'll put my energy. Does this make me less informed? Probably. Will I miss important developments? Certainly. Do I risk becoming one of those people who doesn't know basic facts about current events? Maybe. But I suspect the gap between knows everything trending on social media and genuinely uninformed about important events is wider than discourse police would have you believe. What I'm hoping to gain is mental space. Room to think about things deeply rather than reactively. Room to form opinions slowly instead of immediately. Room to actually care about a few things rather than performing minimal care about everything. I might even binge on the occasional experience of not having an opinion at all, of sitting with uncertainty or admitting ignorance without feeling like I'm failing some kind of test. The gravitational pull of social media is strong, and the fear of missing out on important discourse is real. But I'm willing to experiment with being the person who hasn't seen the latest thing, hasn't heard about the controversy, doesn't have a take ready to deploy. I'm willing to get my news from a physical copy of the weekend newspaper. The discourse will continue without me. New controversies will emerge and dissolve and so on. People will have takes, hot and otherwise, and I'll be over here blissfully unaware of what everyone is upset about today. Come find me when something actually matters.